Welcome to our weekly Timeless Principles for Extraordinary Living with Dr. Alex. Dr. Alex believes that you were born for extraordinary exploits, to be an exhibition of divine abundance. Today's session, as all others, will inspire you to experience extraordinary living. Join Dr. Alex now. Kingdom greetings, family, and welcome to our weekly streaming of Timeless Principles with Dr. Alex. I'm excited and I'm pleased and honored to bring to you this evening our teacher and our mentor, Dr. Alex. Do greet us this evening, sir.
Okay. Kingdom greetings, family. What an honor for this opportunity to share with you what I call timeless life kingdom transforming principles. Setru, thank you for introducing me again, and it does look like you are getting better at this task.
Thank you so much. You know, we've been doing this for a while now, and I'm glad. I appreciate the positive feedback. And so we've been, talking on this series for some time now, and you said and you gave us great hope that management is a learnable skill. Awesome. And I'd like to ask you to give myself and the people that are watching that hope again, and also just to remind us about the motto of the series.
Thank you so much, Seth. It's really my earnest belief that when it comes to management, no one can protest and say, well, I did not have the gift of management, because it is not a gift. It is a learnable skill. But anybody who comes to the point where they believe that it's significant, they can learn it. They cannot claim they never had the gift.
Wow.
Well, the motto that I introduced for this series, and which I would love everyone listening to us to say, let's say it together. The motto is, what I manage, it improves, it grows, and it increases. Let's say that again.
What I manage, it improves, it grows, and it increases.
It is my earnest belief that management, as a matter of fact, is the primary motivation for our creation.
Wow. And we've already covered 2 modules in the series now. And in the first module, you presented the case for the priority of management in the kingdom. And then you moved on to module 2. And I want us to give you a moment just to remind us of some key elements that you covered in the second module.
Well, indeed, sir. Thank you so much. In module 1, I was presenting the argument that management is a priority in the kingdom.
Yes.
Then I moved on to module 2 with the understanding that when we have agreed that management is a priority, the next step should be, what then are the basics of management? So in module 2, in covering the basics, I first introduced definitions of management, and secondly, I looked at the core functions or tasks of management.
Okay. And I do recall that under the definition, you scanned through a number of perspectives.
Yes.
So I'd like to ask you to remind us of one of the operational definitions that you are using in this whole series.
Yes, management is a field that's been growing over the years. It's history. Some people say it dates back 3,000 years before Christ, it's been evolving, and consequently, its definition comes from various perspectives. So that's why I scanned about 10 perspectives last time. And in the perspectives, on one side, I gave what we call the scholarly perspective of management, which goes something like management is the process of deploying resources to achieve results effectually, where effectually means effective and efficient. So that's the scholarly definition. However, the operational definition that I use, and I would encourage anyone listening to me to use, is that management is the critical path to human success.
Sure.
What stands between you and your success is your ability to manage whatever resources, time, and all that, which we'll deal with in module later. 4 or so. Module later, 4 or 5, wherever.
Well, I've learned a new word today,
Okay.
effectually, which is effective and efficient.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And then you went forward to introducing the core functions or the tasks of
Yes.
management. And again, you presented us with several perspectives. And I want us to, go through maybe one perspective that you've adopted for this series.
Awesome. Because it's been evolving, when I started to study management at the postgraduate diploma in management, the framework of the core functions of management was simpler then. They just said it's PI,
Long time
which
ago.
was planning, implementation, and evaluation. That was as simple as that. But over the years, it's been evolving, and there are several perspectives of what is the core function. If I say I'm a manager, what are my core functions or tasks? So in this series, I have settled on the framework called POLC, P-O-L-C, which simply says the core functions of management is planning, organizing, leading, and control. Not leadership, but leading. POLC. These are the 4 core functions of management.
Okay, and interestingly, in this, acronym of POLC, when you were unpacking the framework, you started with the C and not the P. So can you, give us a few insights on that? I think you covered the C and the O in module 2.
Yes. Absolutely. Of course, when you look at the framework and the acronym POLC, the logic way is to start talking about the planning, then organizing, leading, and control. But for reasons that will become apparent in module 3 and module 4, I chose to start at the end with the control. And then I jumped the leading, I went to the organizing. Now, in terms of just a few reminders of the 2 that we covered, the control, the function of control, I prefer to call it monitoring and evaluation. In all organizations that I set up, I like to have monitoring and evaluation as one of the functions. What that function control entails, it's about ensuring that when we say we are moving from here to there, the control helps us to determine whether we are getting to where we're supposed to be getting.
Yeah.
That's what that function entails. It has 3, summarized elements. Firstly, you develop what we call the performance standards. In other words, everybody must know that this is the performance standard. And secondly, then you actually measure the performance against standards. You will see in work, in corporate, this is one of the time people are afraid when it's performance reviews. But that's part of the function of control. Then thirdly, then you do corrections or improvements wherever it is necessary. So that's how we summarized the management function of control. Then the management function of organizing, how we summarized it, we said in management, we get to remember that things don't happen anyhow. In other words, in management, we argue that getting busy does not necessarily mean you are being successful. But it is only when you are busy with the relevant tasks, and hence the concept of organizing, so that you get busy with what you need to get busy with. And again, the organizing as a function is 3 elements, which is structuring, coordinating, and staffing. Now, just one insight of each of those, because again, I am combining business, scholarly, and the kingdom, and the Bible. And I call that kingdom, the Bible and combination of that. When it comes to the control, one insight I used there was to go back to a case study of the three men who were given bags of gold.
Okay.
And I pulled out the insight on Matthew 25, verse 24. I would like to read that verse. Matthew 25, verse 24. You'll read me, fine. Let's read together then. Then the man who had received one bag of gold came. Master, he said, I knew that you are a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown, and gathering where you have not scattered seed. What this case study, if I remind you very quickly, the master called three managers, gave them responsibilities, and he went for a long time. Then the master came back and called all three to sit down and did the function of monitoring and evaluation. My argument is this particular manager, what did he do? He took what he was given and he hid it. He did nothing. He just sat on it. Only the function of monitoring and evaluation was able to identify a bad manager. Many organizations that were in, maybe the one you're also in, we never identify bad managers. We never identify poor performers because we never pause and stop. Let alone that this man knew. He says, I know your performance standard. Master, I know exactly what you were looking for. I know what you expected me to do, but I still didn't do it. So if the master had not performed the function of monitoring and evaluation, we would never have known a lazy, wicked, bad performer. That's the insight I was showing there. It's kingdom. The function of control, monitoring, is a kingdom function. This was taught by Christ. Then I pulled one insight on the organizing. And the insight I pulled there was that the 40 years of the children of Israel in the wilderness was organizing gone wrong. It was organizing gone wrong. You go to Deuteronomy 1:2, and the scriptures tells us that normally that journey takes 11 days. So the question is, how does an 11-day journey end up taking a people 40 years? The answer is the function of organizing went wrong. My argument is when organizing has gone wrong, you will have a lot of people who will go in circles for a long time without getting their breakthroughs. If you look at the story, some people who started the journey with excitement in Egypt never made it to the promised land. They died on the way. What was happening on the way? They were going in circles. Why were they going in circles? There was no organization. The organizing function of management was not there. And it is for that perspective said to, and all those who are listening, maybe I must look at the people who are listening and say to them, I believe Africa does not lack resources. Africa does not lack leaders, but Africa lacks management. We have the resources, but we need people who can deploy them effectively and efficiently.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Alex. Wow. If you are not excited for Module 3, I know that I am. And I'm sure that Dr. Alex is as well. If you're not, I think you should maybe rewind, and start watching again from the beginning.
Or stand up and dance. To get excited for Module 3. Remember that what you manage improves, it grows, and it increases. So connect with us every Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Central African Time, as we begin with Module 3. And let us be excited and continue to journey with Dr. Alex as we engage the kingdom priority of management. Thank you for connecting with us on Extraordinary Exploits with Dr. Alex. We value your connection. Join us every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Central African Time. And remember to invite others.
Experience extraordinary living.